Let's start the show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff.
Understand this. Understand this.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your damn hands together. Get ready to have your earlobes massaged by the one and only
Finesse Mitchell.
Whoa! Man, we back. What's up, everybody? Let me tell you something. Whoo! Those are the sounds and the stylings of my homeboy Jeannie D's, my super producer.
What's up, bro?
Hand. What's up, brother? Man, I appreciate you because I think I got the coldest intro. I got the coldest 35 seconds in the history of podcasting right now. And when I tell you people, I want you to understand something. Understand this right now. I got none other than the dun-da-da of sketch comedy. That's all you can say right now at this point. It was an honor and a pleasure to meet him back in 2003. Neither one of us knew if we was gonna get a job, but here's a funny story. Story number one, before I say what I'm about to, before I make my man's intro. I'm sitting in the LAX catching a red eye.
Right.
And I see Kenan Thompson walk up. And this is after the SNL auditions. And this is a red eye now. This is late at night. And this is after the SNL auditions. And Kenan walks up to me and he said, "Damn, man, congratulations, you got it."
Oh, wow.
And I said, "What are you talking about? I'm on my way to Atlanta." And he was like, "Oh, my bad. I thought." And I was like, "I'm just fucking with you, man. I got it too." And so we just sat there, man, and just all cheese and all smiles. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I have my friend, former coworker, SNL alumni, actor, stand-up comedian, sketch comedy guru, father, husband,
all right,
Mr. Kenan Thompson, right there. I'm trying to.
That's enough of that.
I'm trying to give you the Steve Harvey intro.
Nah, I feel that love, man. Thank you, man. That's crazy. You brought that memory back, man. That was such a beautiful moment. You know what I'm saying? For us to be able to share that, because people don't even really know that you had, like, did you go to school with Tiffany? Is that what it was? Is that how you know Tiff?
What, Haddish?
My cousin?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Tiffany Mitchell.
Yes. That particular Tiffany. Yes, I did. Yes.
So, yeah, like, we had this weird, family connection already without even having met each other. You know what I'm saying? And then Tiff told me about you and like blah, blah, blah. And then I met you at the audition. And you were such a beast. All of y'all were such beasts on stage, man. Y'all had me terrified because y'all all did stand up and I never did it. And y'all just destroyed. I just remember like y'all destroying the Laugh Factory, you know what I mean? And like all the other comedy clubs and shit. And I just felt like so out of place, you know what I mean? To like be up there performing with y'all. And then me and you and JB end up getting a job. And it was just on and cracking from there. It was like, probably like one of my most, treasured 3 years in that spot, like any run with any coworker, because it was special. You know what I'm saying? We got hired together from the A, you know what I'm saying? It was like we was representing Atlanta as hard as possible. And then Outkast fucked around and came through season 1. You know what I mean? It just couldn't get no better. So.
And that's funny because I remember them excited to see us and we was excited to see them. I mean,
exactly.
Outkast season 1 and to have 2 cats from Atlanta, make the cast at the same time who didn't have a relationship before we met at the SNL auditions. And I don't know, maybe you probably thought, yeah, I might get this. I had no clue. I was like, man, I just want to audition. I just want a job. I had no clue. And as it kept going from 50 names to 40 names, then all of a sudden it went down to like 8 names. I was like, this is going to be another one of those things where I get close and then it's not going to happen. And do you remember they brought us out to Studio 8H to perform in studio, and they still didn't make up their mind, and they flew everybody back home. And I think it was because it was a 9/11, the anniversary was coming up, so they was getting nervous and jittery anyway about having people in New York, and they didn't even make up their.
I don't know what it was. I just know I left there with my tail between my legs and went back to LA for a week and didn't hear nothing. So I just let it go. I was like, I guess we didn't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never assumed that I would get it. Like, I didn't think I would get it, get past the first audition just because it was all stand-up. So we had to do stand-up, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, well, shit, that's out of my element. But then once we made it in the Studio 8H or whatever, I was like, okay, I feel better about this. But then I didn't hear anything for a week. And then when they did call, they were like, we want you to audition one more time at the Laugh Factory, another fucking comedy club. And I was like, well, I'm fucked off, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. So it was the most stressful time of my life, man. I've never been more thirsty than I was watching all of y'all perform, and I'm waiting on my time to go. And I just remember I was drinking out the sink in the bathroom just because I didn't want to walk back and forth to the bar to get water. And
at the Laugh Factory?
At the Laugh Factory. And I could not quench my thirst. I was that nervous. I've never been that nervous in my life because, it's a life-changing job, obviously.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I never knew I would keep it this long and all of that. But just to have it for a little while, you know what I'm saying? It can change your life. So
I remember saying once we got in, because once, I moved to New York, I'm sure you had been to New York a lot. I had only been to Mount Vernon a lot. Going up there for the summers to see the family. But then living in the city, man, it even took me probably a good 6 months before I was literally like, why is all these people walking down these stairs, and what's down there? I'll never forget, this girl was like, the subway? And I was like,
what's down there?
Because I kept seeing people disappear. And I'm like, where the hell is everybody going?
Hilarious. What is down there?
What's down there?
You don't think you country because you're thinking you are the upper echelon of the creme de la creme of the ATL.
Right.
And I wasn't even, who would I have?
Marta is above, you can't blame yourself. Marta is above ground.
Marta is above ground.
Like, I don't think there is no Marta tunnel anywhere. You know what I'm
right.
So yeah, I feel you.
So then when we get there and of course we meet everybody, let me tell you why I didn't think I was going to be there long. And this is like, now we got it. So Kenan had this feeling of, holy shit, I'm going up against stand-up comics. It's easy when you're a stand-up comic. All you're going to do is do your routine that you've probably been doing for the last 4 or 5 years. But now in hindsight, looking back on it, you actually had a Kristen Wiig type audition. And I didn't even, you know what I mean? Like when I saw her.
1,000%. Yeah, I was just doing sketches.
Yeah. It was like character. Next character.
Yep.
Next character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a lot of starting and stopping with Kenan, but every voice.
It was zero acknowledgement to the people sitting in front of me, which is what stand-ups know to do automatically. Like, how y'all feeling tonight? Fuck with the crowd work, any of this. Like, ooh, y'all look like y'all on a date. It wasn't none of that. It was a phone call between Al Sharpton and Arnold Schwarzenegger just to kick off the weirdness.
And now, here we are, Jeannie. We in New York, right? And we have this Gary Coleman is running for governor of California, and they bring Kenan a Gary Coleman weekend update monologue type thing, right? Mm-hmm. He's gonna do Gary Coleman running for governor, and we shared a dressing room. So I guess they were out of space. They put the brothers in one dressing room. We had one big dressing room. Can you imagine all our friends coming on show night?
All our friends.
This my half. Hey, can you move your stuff over to this half right here? That's my half.
Right. Hey man, that's Finesse chair. Y'all let him sit right there.
And man, he but I remember, I never forget, I think it was Kenwood or somebody, or Charlie Grandy brought Kenan like 2 pages. Said, hey man, we're thinking about crashing this into the weekend update. Can you take a look at it? Kenan was like, cool. And he got in the mirror and he started reading it. And I'm just watching him. I'm minding my own business. You know what I'm saying? Right. I'm getting ready, doing whatever, getting ready for my one sketch. You know what I mean? But and he's reading it and reading it and reading it. And he just quiet. And then he reading it. And then I look at it. I said, let me take a look at it. And he gave it to me. And it was 2 full pages. And he went in front of that mirror. And he did that whole damn monologue. And then when I was going along with him, and I wanted to say, yeah, you missed the whole part, but the only thing I could really say was, you left out a the. Yeah, man, you left out one of the thes. But then that's when it hit me. Holy shit, this dude got a whole different skill set.
Right.
Because he has been doing this for a very long time. Because if they would have brought that to me, I would have said, oh, so this for next week. Because this ain't going to happen. This ain't about to happen on this show. But, you know, man, one thing that I always admired about you, and I even heard Tina Fey say it, she put it into words. She said, Kenan Thompson it doesn't matter what you write, he's gonna make it funny. And so I thought that was the biggest compliment, because then when I was like, yeah, what about me? And she was like, yeah, you got a nice chest.
Oh my God. Hilarious. I mean, I would like to have a nice chest one of these days too, but that's
don't
crazy.
think we don't see you. I don't know how you dropping what you're dropping, but every time I see
Oh man,
you,
I've been on that bike, riding on that bike.
Bro, when I tell you, let me interrupt you. I just got a bike. I just got it ain't a Pendleton or nothing like that. The bike costs like $350, and Amazon just dropped it off. It was a box in front of my house. But yeah,
man,
so is that the secret?
It's all about doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for me, it has been. I've been on like a weekday riding type of schedule. You know what I'm saying? So I take the weekends off, and yeah, it's been making I already made like dietary changes. You know, just getting off of red meat and shit like that a few years ago. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? So my wife eats very strict. You know, so if we in the house and trying to avoid takeout and stuff, and all that kind of stuff as much as possible, I've been eating really healthy and been on that bike, man, and shit just been shredding off here. So it's not a bad thing necessarily.
You in Tampa right now, right?
I haven't been trying that hard. Yeah, Tampa. That in the summertime, you're just gonna be naturally sweating out here. You step outside and drop 5 pounds of sweat. So
this is the question that everybody want to know. Because once you reach your level, once you reach your status, this is one of the main questions that I know people want to know. You're in Tampa. Do you go to the grocery store by yourself?
Yeah, all the time. Why?
And
do people not do that?
I'm just saying, like, do you just have to do the whole, hey, what's up? Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's up? Or do people leave you alone?
I mean, kind of, but like, honestly, with my hat, bro, like nobody really sees me like that unless they know me already. You know what I'm saying? And then they say hi, or we've had that conversation before, you know what I'm saying? And just keep it moving. Like, that's my local neighborhood shit. So they, the stocking guy, he's only gonna go out his way to tell me he like Big Papi once or twice. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna be every single time.
Right.
I go get strawberries. You know what I'm saying? He's just gonna be like, all right, what's up? What's up? Everything's cool. Because, really your interactions with people, unless you know them, is only gonna be once or twice anyway. You know what I'm saying? Your first impression is your only chance really to get on the positive side. I had to learn all these things. You know what I'm saying? Like, I used to be very standoffish with people in the public or whatever, but that was before I, had the brilliant idea to just wear a hat, you know what I'm saying? And like look more hip hopish than normal, and people don't just approach strange hip hop guys like that just out of the blue. So ain't nobody, checking for me like that. And I keep it low key, you know what I'm saying? Like if I start moving with other people, then I feel like people start to take notice. But, just a grown man looking for groceries, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing to see here.
Right. 2003 Kenan versus 2000, and I guess I would say 2019, 2019, 2020, because y'all actually did get through a season during COVID. Y'all got really crafty with how y'all were gonna finish out that season. So I applaud the whole brain trust on that. Yeah, man. I was like, you know what? If anybody's gonna find a way, Lauren is not just gonna let his show just stay with reruns. He's gonna figure that out.
No doubt.
So what is the major growth that you would say Kenan Thompson had just from like our first couple of seasons on SNL to like where you are now in your career on SNL? Because I know you got a lot of projects going on, but outside of the projects, I'm talking about personally.
Yeah, I would just like, kind of just repeating what I just said, that maturity of knowing how to engage with others better. You know what I'm saying? Like whether it's a stranger or if it's a FedEx dude even making a joke, you know what I'm saying? Like if they're even trying to clown me a little bit, like you gotta be, up for that if you're gonna be in the public life, you know what I'm saying? Like any joke is pretty much valid if it gets a laugh, basically, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, as long as you're not like directly calling me a fat boy or some shit like that, and you just on some Fat Albert shit or some Good Burger shit, give me a cheeseburger type shit, you know what I mean? It's all good. And
Right.
I just had to learn, like, even when I first, had my babies and shit, and about like people approaching me with, when I'm out with my family and being standoffish in that time, it's just not necessarily necessary. And I always feel worse when I see that face drop from people when they're like, "Hey man, can I get a picture of something?" I'm like, "I'm just with my family. I'm just chilling." They face drop
Mm-hmm.
regardless, and they be like, "Okay, I respect that," or whatever. Or they, get mad, you know what I'm saying? But that face drop is gonna happen. So
Right.
just to see like that hope, just flee away from people just never felt really good. And also just, being afraid of, run-ins with people. I'm past all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't give a fuck about, I don't have no beef with nobody, but we all grown out here. I feel like if it is a problem, we should be able to sit down and discuss it. That's with anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like strangers or people I know in the business or the police or whoever, you know what I'm saying? So just that kind of maturity and being a father, and being a husband, like it puts you kind of, fourth in position as far as priority in your day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I just been on that track basically.
I always say there's nothing more humbling than having a wife call the shots, because you really relinquish everything. Like you got a squad.
And happy to do it.
Yeah.
Once you find that person,
once you find the right person, yeah.
Yeah.
Once you find a person
Yeah.
that's like, you need to eat a certain way, we need to spend this much time with each other and with our kids, and we need to actually find that time to get away from all of this. And it's a genuine, like, share all of that energy with your family. Like once you find that person, because it sucks when you have the wrong person, because then you like, everybody's saying I gotta get in a relationship. They just don't work. You know what I mean? You become so negative about going into a new relationship, first of all, but then when you find the right person, then you're like, oh, so you are gonna go where you said you were going, and you are gonna be back around the time when you said you was gonna be back. Oh, you do pick up
you
the
mean
phone.
like an honest person?
Yeah, like
honest
just like
person is key. Yeah.
And vice versa, man. Because how many times,
Mhm.
I don't know about you, but it just took me a long time to adjust from the SNL life of how many times do we go out a week? Like even on a show week. How many
Man,
times
back in the day, it was every day. We were brand new to New York, but also SNL gives you that golden key kind of to anywhere. You know what I mean? And like before that, I was lined up outside the club, regardless of any, Nickelodeon or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, or movies or anything that I've done. I was still waiting outside the club because I wasn't that, outgoing to meet, promoters and shit like that to, walk into the club whenever. I was just like, oh, it's Tuesday night, we done working, like, let's go out to the club, like, what's cracking tonight, blah, blah, blah. I don't even know whose party it is, you know what I'm saying? We just walk up to the front and have to go through that bullshit with, like, the doorman, and then get past him, the head of security,
Right.
then get to some promoter that's just like, oh, yeah, just come on in.
Right.
An hour later, you know what I'm saying? But once we had that, like, SNL pass, it was like, oh, we the cast from SNL. Okay, let them in. So we was out every night, basically, except for
2003.
Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah. I Monday we would have
think-
pitch. We have pitch. We sit in front of Lauren like school kids in his office, and we pitch and say the same pitch that we said last week. A lot of times we had different pitches. Everybody would wait for JB Smooth to do his pitch because it'd always be something
Incredible.
crazy. You know what I mean? And it just crack up the room every single Monday. And then the host would come around and maybe stop by our office. But shortly after that, we would disappear. And later that night, we'd be in the club. And then Tuesday was a writing night, and we'd come in at a certain time and just look at the computer screen and peek into everybody's office, watching everybody write, and, waiting for inspiration to hit us. And then Kenan would always,
or somebody to tell me what to do.
Yeah. and then Kenan would always have that, I'm about to hit the stairwell. And then I'll be like,
take a little
break.
walk.
Take a little walk.
You know what I'm saying? Might as well
right.
take a little walk break.
Yeah, take a little walk break. So then we take a little walk break. Then it literally around 12:31, even on a Tuesday, bro, we'd be like, let's go. They ain't gonna miss us. And then we go to Marquee or somewhere and come back at around
cracking.
2:30. And that golden key that he talked about, it was, I mean, sometimes we knew where to go, but then there were a lot of times that we had these mailboxes, but it'd be these dope ass invitations in your mailbox. And not only when you show up, it's free shit, but it's like the who's who or some creme de la creme, like, damn. And we could come as is, never dressed up once, and just the SNL boys, or just that's some cats from SNL. Oh, man.
That's insane. SNL is like in the folklore of New York. Like when we look at New York in history, like SNL is a big, part of that.
I think
1,000%.
Yeah, I think the way Tracy did SNL, because Tracy was from New York, people knew Tracy and loved Tracy anyway.
We couldn't hold a candle to Tracy.
Wow.
Man, Tracy kept us out till 8 a.m. one time after a show.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, man.
I was like, yo, this dude is a freight train. I can only imagine the run that Tracy Morgan had.
Right.
Still
Exactly.
having. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, crazy. He just knows every nook and cranny to go, regardless of what time it is.
And a lot of the crew, it took them so long to warm up to me because they was just still in love with Tracy. Just like, Tracy used to bring us donuts.
Tracy.
I was like, oh, yeah. he brought you donuts? Well, Finesse ain't bringing you donuts. But
Tracy used to spend that money on us. Well, Tracy was getting that money like that. We're brand new here.
Yeah, man. Past your first 5 years, and then the cast started shifting. Jay Farrell came in. I can't even keep up with just the. It was at one point where I felt like, man, this almost damn near in living color. Like they have really changed a little bit. We had Che, we had Jay Farrell, we had Leslie, we had Kenan, and that was everybody, right? That was
Sashir was there, and pretty much Pete by default. Pete was half
by default. Hey, he said by default. Hey, Pete got that one drop rule.
Yeah, Pete got the one drop rule.
He got that hood pass.
Yeah. And it just changed to me. One night I watched the show, and I actually watched the intro of it, and I was just like, wow, it's true what Tracy said, because I gonna never forget that morning. He did keep us out till 8 a.m. Remember that time I think we was in Queens or something, and he had the door open. We was freezing. And then right when we thought the night was over, he was like, so let me tell you about the first time me and Eddie, and we like, Tracy, we gotta go, bro. Like he got so mad. He got so mad.
Yeah, that was deep in the Bronx.
Yes, deep in the Bronx.
That's how crazy that was. Like we was dropping him off at his crib when he used to live in the Bronx, and I didn't know. It was way up there, so I didn't know how. This is before GPS, folks. By the way, you couldn't just pull your phone out and like type in an address and get there. So this is before Waze and before any of that.
All that.
2003. This like what we had. Like what was 2003? Like what was the printout shit?
We had
MapQuest.
Like MapQuest. Yeah, at best, MapQuest.
At best, bro.
So I'm just following the numbers, and we're like at like 220th Street or some shit, and I'm just driving downwards basically until I got to numbers I recognize, which is like 150 and below. Basically, it's like kind of where Harlem is, and Harlem starts at like 145, 149, whatever. And then you like, if you're coming from the Bronx, by the time you get down 150, 140, now you're looking for bridges or whatever to get over to the island of Manhattan to go through Harlem to get back to where we live at safety for us out of towners. But I'm catching light after light after light, and it's like, man, it was so tiring. And I remember Finesse just being like, "You think he mad?" I was like, "Yeah, he slammed the door pretty mad. Like he cut him off in the middle of one of his grace stories."
At the time, I didn't know how to. I can't say I had the best couth in the world, but
I mean, we was all drunk.
We was drunk,
coming from fucking
freezing.
Wherever we was coming from, and like just tired and trying to figure out how to get home.
Cold air sober you up so quickly.
He was like, find y'all way home, because he knew that we was like out of
Lost.
our element and it wasn't easy, you know,
Mhm.
turn after turn in the Bronx to find your way back or whatever. He's like, all right, well, find your own fucking way.
Find your
Slam.
own way.
And I was like, oh snap.
And I looked at Kenan like, you
I was
got
like,
this,
oh,
right?
you're in
You
trouble?
remember which way we did? But here's the funny part. Bro. We didn't really know where we were going. He was telling us stories all the way from the club to his crib, which I guess I didn't necessarily pay attention. I didn't know where we were going, so I guess we were going to his crib, obviously. But he just kept saying, turn left, turn right. And this is in the middle of the story. This is in the middle of his stories. Turn left, turn right here, turn right, turn another right, turn left. And then you're like, cool.
Right,
so
right.
when we finally get there and he opens the door, we about to say goodnight. This dude says, so let me tell you about, and I'm like, yo, son, it's a show day for us. Like, we got to go. And he's basically trying to say, you know, Eddie had this talk with him. He want to have this talk with us. And I'm just like, we could have had this talk 5 hours ago.
Right, exactly.
And man, he was mad. He slammed that door.
Yeah.
And he was like,
Yeah,
find your
funny.
own way home. And me and Kenan
shit was
drove
funny.
off real quiet. And I was just like, you think he mad?
I think he mad.
think he
I think
mad.
he a little mad, bro.
Bro,
That shit was amazing. But
bro,
shout out to Tracy, man.
absolutely. Tracy's come a long way, man.
Yeah.
Because I just think the personal growth that people have in show business. Right after I left SNL, I was living in South Florida, and Jimmy was up for the Tonight Show, and he came down to Fort Lauderdale Improv, you know, at the Hollywood Hard Rock Casino, and he had shows there. And you know, we were sitting in the dressing room, we were talking, and he was and to me, he was the same Jimmy Kenan, just a little bit too preoccupied about what people were gonna think about the show and just the nervousness of just, you know, how Jimmy gets sometimes. And then when I got to see Jimmy, when I did the Tonight Show not too long ago, and I did stand up, Seth too. It's like anything that happened during those years when I was there at SNL, people are so far beyond and removed from that. All you're worried about is the day-to-day, the job that's in front of you, and when is that particular job over? You know what I mean? Like, this is another day.
That's what keeps the show pushing forward. You know what I'm saying? Because it is live.
Mhm.
So, and it's comedy, right? So you have to earn your response from the audience every single time.
Mhm.
Every single time you start down a pattern of setup, there better be a punchline behind it, and it better work.
Mhm.
So they've been doing that shit for 45 years.
Right.
Like, that's insane. Yeah, motherfuckers move way past that. And then especially when they get on to their own shit, like Seth's at 1,000 shows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
fucking Jimmy's at like, I don't even know how many. So they worried about what's in front of them. And then you just scored and helped them keep their shit pushing forward. That's what they're going to applaud you for. So
Absolutely.
they say you're never as good as your last, whatever the fuck. But I think they need to switch that and just say, like, you just make sure you good when the opportunity presents itself.
Absolutely.
That's all you can really do.
Absolutely. Man, you have I'm gonna shift gears because right now nobody can ignore the times that we're in right now. So I'm just want to talk relationship, husband on husband, mano y mano, father on father. COVID, let me tell you something, bro. I had to learn all over again how to be a husband to my wife at home, because a lot of my schedule would, you know, have me leaving on a Thursday and coming back on a Monday. I knew how to be that husband. I knew how to be that dad, because it was still about, a lot of times, about me when I go do my shows, and you know, but I had no idea that, yo, when she hold this shit down from Monday to Wednesday when I'm not there, she got her system, she got her routine with the kids. So COVID was like, okay, 2 people in the house at the same time, 24 hours a day, start all over with what y'all think y'all know. And bro, me and my lady broke up twice and had to get back together because we were quarantined. How's Christina doing, man?
She's doing great, man. I mean, you make your adjustments, you know, like our kids, like, Yeah, we wanted to get them in their own beds, but it was too late. So now they sleep with us. And now we don't have a bed really big enough for 4 people to sleep comfortably. So she's been sleeping like in all kinds of different places. Or if she passes out with the babies, then I gotta go sleep different places and shit like that. So you just, excuse me, you just figure out different ways to make it work. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever it is to keep the household peaceful, you just do that. You know what I'm saying? Because the main focus is them kids, man. They got so much energy. So even if it's like only, it's 6 o'clock and they, bedtime is 9 o'clock, man, them 3 hours is mayhem if you're not prepared. You know what I'm saying? Like they just get into shit and tear shit up. So you have to like give them, instructions and procedures and busy work and all that good stuff. Otherwise they're just, pandemonium and they running crazy. And, we in Florida, thank God, so they can run around a little bit, but still, that it doesn't stop when they come back inside. Like they don't stop until they pass out. You know what I'm saying? So once it's silence in the house, we have maybe an hour or 2 before we pass out. You know what I'm saying? So we don't spend it arguing, basically. So that's been like one beautiful thing about it.
I think watching kids has to be the most, even if you're just watching them with your eyes, it is the most tiring thing ever. Let alone
it's exhausting.
Let alone you just like, let's go out and play, or because kids got their games, and when they get tired of those games, they make up new games. My daughter has this game called Fly Me. Like it's me picking her up and just walking her through the house and going shh like she's Superman.
Yeah, because it's a service job. It's a service job. You know what I mean? When you in life, you can't just ask your friend to play the Fly Me game. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna go for that. So y'all gonna figure out something y'all can do together, or not do nothing at all. You know what I'm saying? But kids are never going to agree to not do nothing at all. They ain't never gonna check that box.
Georgia's your oldest. My oldest is at the point where she is in love with her baby sister. Sometimes I hear her say, "This is my baby all the time." But then when it comes to attention, a lot of times you can't help but just smother that little cute one, because they're 2 cute kids, but it's something about the ages of 2 that is so cute.
Man.
The baby, and they say something cute, you make a big deal out of it. They do something by themselves, you make a big deal out of it. And man, when I tell you, Elle, my oldest, she's 5, she be looking at us like, really? Y'all impressed with that? She didn't do nothing. You know how Elle is. Elle, she speak her mind like, what are you talking about? She got poop in her Pampers. She stinks right now. She just says whatever. And but how is Georgia? How does Georgia? Go ahead.
She gets competitive. You know what I'm saying? Like the baby will we had this like stack of Uno cards, and the baby will just throw them. And we'll be like, oh, that's cute. And then Georgia will be like, I can do it too. And then she'll throw the whole stack of cards. We'll be like, hey, Georgia, clean it up. So she always getting in trouble. Just trying to be like as cute or whatever. So we feel bad and, give her chocolates and stuff like that. But it's a lot of that, like, super love and super competition all at the same time. It's funny to watch.
One trick that I have done, and I don't know where I've learned it, but I have made washing dishes, cleaning up, straightening up. I've made it all a game. So anytime I say it's cleanup time, it's another game in my house. So my oldest, my baby doesn't give a damn, but my oldest is like, I want to help with the dishes. So she goes and gets the step ladder, and she, she's not doing nothing. They got to rewash everything she thinks she washed. But she's in the mindset of washing dishes. She's in the mindset of cleaning up her room. She's in the mindset of straightening up behind her. But it's the shit that my baby fucks up, like just messes up as soon as we clean up, where we're like, come on, Elle, help me clean this up. And Elle is just like, she might as well curse. Fuck no. You saw her do that. I didn't do that shit. We just did that, Dad. We just cleaned that up. Say something. I'm like, yeah, I did. I want you to help me re-clean this up. But that's where we get it. That's where we have friction, is when they play together, they like 2 freaking Power Rangers out there. Thick as thieves, but the minute it comes to responsibility and stuff, and like one have to clean up after she ain't with that, because then it's just like, I didn't do that, and everything is the baby's fault. Who tried to turn on that faucet? She points to
the baby.
The baby.
Yeah.
Baby can't even reach the faucet.
Right. No, but it was the baby. The baby did it. No.
Are y'all done? Y'all want a boy?
I mean, I don't know. I think we up for kind of whatever. We talk about just being responsible and being good with the two because they are a handful, but it ain't really no difference between 2 and 3. The difference is between 1 and 2. So, once you have 2, it's like you can have 6 if you want. Like it's gonna be the same juggling of energies and schedules and all kinds of stuff. So it's all good.
It's cool when you keep them close in age because the minute you get like too far apart in age, then you're gonna be like, oh shit, I got to start over with the whole diaper phase, and then the baby somebody has to watch the baby phase versus like 2 kids kind of coming up at the same age. 3-4 year difference, like that gives you a break with buying cars and all that shit. Like space them out just enough, and give the older one responsibility, and then give the younger one somebody to look up to. But once you start talking about, I got a 10-year-old and a 2-year-old, what the fuck was you doing?
What did you do? Did you do anything?
Unless you got stair steps and you got like 6 kids or whatever.
Things change in life, you never know. The little surprises can happen, but I just feel for people, anybody that has more than one in diapers at the same time, because that's just a whole lot to deal with. So shout out to anybody with twins or triplets or, just kids close in age with, like Alec Baldwin got like 4 kids under 5 or something like that.
He started all the way over.
6. Right. All the way over. So yeah.
That got to be one of my favorite SNL hosts and people in show business, Alec Baldwin. He ain't never had a problem with that man ever, and he just always been super cool.
Slight temper, but he's cool.
But you know what? I think that temper is more so showbiz related and not.
It's New York. It's just New York street shit coming from like I got 4 other brothers and we had to look out for each other type shit, and I was the oldest one, and we'll wreck shit basically. It's like the don't fuck with me attitude. But, unfortunately, he's insanely famous. So his arguments over a parking spot have him, paparazzi'd up outside the courthouse. I mean, I don't know how you even wind up at the courthouse arguing over a parking spot anyway. Most black people be like, fuck this, fuck that. Oh, here come the police. I'm out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, you want to take it all the way to the Supreme Court.
All the way. All the way.
I love the fact that one of my you remember Miss Janie? She probably passed by now. You remember Miss Janie? She used to.
Nah, she hasn't that I know of. She came around like 3 or 4 years ago to say hi, and it had been a while. She finally retired like a couple years before that. So she's still doing her thing, and she talks about her fitness.
Miss
where's fitness? Call you fitness.
I think that's why I started. That's why I made it into a joke. That's one of my biggest jokes from SNL, and I never credited Miss Janie. I said Lauren Michaels called me that, but Miss Janie.
It was Miss Janie, man.
She was the person. Everybody, Miss Janie was the person who kind of, she straightened up after huge shows. You know what I mean? At Studio 8H, she was
like one of the heads of the janitorial department.
Yes, and I remember when Alec had his young fiance at the time or girlfriend. I have no clue where he is right now with who he's with. I don't know who this person was in 2004 or something, or 2003. But at the time, he had a young one with him, and we were impressed. We were both impressed. We're like, look at Alec Baldwin. Where he get that from?
Well, he's a movie star, man. He's a movie star.
And Alec had went to do something on stage. He went to set and he left his dressing room, and she was there standing in front of the dressing room, and she had said something because we had all been chummy. We had all made introductions or something, and she had said something like, how do you turn on the TV? Like, can you come in and show me how to turn on the TV? And it was like actually come into the room and turn on the TV. And Miss Janie was in an adjacent dressing room, and she came out of that room and looked at me and was like, and then went and disappeared into the other dressing room. So it was almost like a black ghost that came out of nowhere, looked at me and was like, don't you go in there. Don't you go in that room. Hey, man. She was looking out because my dumb ass was like, oh, you need some help? Here I come. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I should probably get somebody to help you with that TV. I don't know about that.
She was an angel, the ghost
man.
of.
Older black people, they know. Don't you step across that line.
Don't you do that. Don't you do that, young man.
It ain't whatever it is. It ain't worth it.
It ain't worth it. She can get somebody else. It ain't worth it. I remember Halle Berry told me the day of the show, she was like, yeah, so I don't feel comfortable doing the Kobe Bryant cheating on Vanessa sketch. Do you mind go ahead and telling Lauren that I don't want to do that sketch? And I was like, this is my second show. I ain't telling nobody nothing. Like, why are you telling me? Right. And I don't know if you remember at the last minute, we swapped out Halle for Maya Rudolph. And she did that sketch a very long time ago. It was when Kobe cheated on. Yeah, man. What is your most memorable, fondest memorable, or what is your SNL moment when you say, man, I ain't gonna forget this for the rest of my life? Out of your 17-year longest cast member in the history of SNL career, Mr. Kenan Thompson.
I mean, there's a lot of them. You know, you don't never really forget your first moment. You know, that you actually make it on the show.
Mm-hmm.
You don't forget your first week, you know, shit like that. Getting your, like, it took me a while to, like, write. Basically, you were always a great writer, you know what I mean? So
thank you, sir.
Jumped into that, like, with both feet right away. But it took me a while to figure out how I could write.
Did you ever turn on your computer in the 3 years that I was there? Did you ever? I thought you turned on a couple of times and just stared at the template.
I turned it on, but I wouldn't necessarily write on it. You know what I'm saying? I was just like surfing or reading or whatever the fuck. But like, yeah, I figured out that I'm not really good at writing by myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a better collaborator or somebody that just knows the formula of storytelling. You know what I mean? It's a real ABC sort of a pattern. You know what I'm saying? That I never went to any creative writers workshops or had a career where I had to do the writing. You know what I'm saying? Stand up, you have to write for yourself. You know what I'm saying? So you were kind of used to collecting jokes into some sort of, you know, linear progression to get to something that they could call a sketch, basically. And all you had to do was like form a world and like choose a character from it for you to play. For me, it was like, okay, I have this, you know, knowledge of comedy and like I've been a fan of, you know, whoever and I've done this or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But like my personal life experiences have been very particular. You know what I'm saying? Like being a child actor, like all those jokes don't necessarily resonate with, you know, the normal, average, everyday person talking about studios, talking about auditioning, being nervous in front of managers. Nobody wants to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? People want to talk about like, ain't it hot out here or when is the train coming on shit that they can relate to, you know? So it took me a while to figure out how to make what I find funny, you know, figure out how to present that in a voice that, you know, I guess can live on SNL for a while, as far as like being able to recur a sketch more than once and shit like that. So once I got like scared straight and me and Colin started sharing an office and I told him about the idea and we started writing that together. And it, you know, took the angle of, you know, me very straightforward surface level. Yeah, I thought the original Scare Straight movie was very funny just because it was a whole bunch of, you know, gangster ass black prisoners yelling at these little white boys and shit, spitting on them, you know, motherfuckers with no teeth, like this close. They probably ain't never seen a black person, you know, in their life. And they getting the exact stereotype right in their face.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Everything that they ever heard is true.
So like, that's just like one part of it though. Like it could have been, you know, a funny Weekend Update character or something like that. But to make it a sketch, it needed like another, you know, level to it, which is where Colin brought in like, well, maybe he just talks about like 80s movies, you know what I'm saying? And all his lessons are just, you know, basic plots from all the 80s movies. And that's what gave it that other layer to where it was just like, okay, it's funny on this level and on this level and it's smart or whatever. And we can do it more than once, basically. So that week I remember feeling incredible about. But yeah, between that first moments, you know, friends coming and going and shit like that, like whether they, you know, are painful memories or happy ones, I have a lot that stick out. Especially like musical performances. The musical performances have been incredible. You know what I'm saying? Like, let alone the hosts are usually at the height of their game at that time period. So it ain't never been nobody super lame. You know what I'm saying? It's always been somebody of the moment that's dope. So It would just depend on the week, basically.
Right. Hold on 1 second, Kenan. My light went
It's all.
out.
What happened? Y'all,
We didn't pay the bill. They found us.
They stomping. They
found
jumping
us.
up and down upstairs.
Dim it down a little bit. Yeah. Wait a minute. Uh-oh.
Oh, y'all got the color light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got it.
Let's go. Which color y'all going with? Magenta? What y'all going with? Cream?
I think.
Hey, we got it all. Hey, man. Hold on. It's a party.
And yeah, between Scared Straight and What's Up With That, I think. And like the first time doing like Big Poppy, like I knew Steve Harvey was going to be fun once we figured it out. Because I had been trying to do it since, you were on the show, basically. I tried with the afro and nobody really knew who Steve Harvey was outside of Black culture.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So once he did Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, that was when it, it crossed over basically, because now everybody knew that moment.
Right.
They can put two and two together of what they may have heard about Steve Harvey and what they know. You know what I'm saying? And then he just went into life and gave us all the Family Feud material in the world. Like I didn't ask him to do Family Feud. He went and did that.
Right.
It became this ongoing thing. Like it was on 4 or 5 times a day because he was so great at it. And
right.
It was just, okay, here you go. Here's another character and shit. So
right.
Once characters started falling out of the sky, I was like, okay, if I'm just present here, I will wind up doing shit. You know what I'm saying? Or wind up being involved in historic moments. Like I could have left the year before, like with the Adam Sandler, because he was in like May or late in the season or whatever. It was like a nice capper. It's like, okay, that's a good season to kind of walk away from. Maybe if I wanted to just fall back or whatever, but I kept going, and I just want to keep it going. And then they announced over that summer that Eddie's gonna do the Christmas show. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, see, as soon as I think about wanting to like just walk out, I could have missed. Probably won't be another more historic moment from a cast member of that show. You know what I'm saying? So it's
I
crazy.
felt like that was historic.
I'll know.
I felt like that was historic just if you were there. Like everybody who was there to see Eddie come back. And one thing that I loved most about that night is that, and I don't know how long, and this is my first time back, and I don't know how many and how long since the SNL 40th reunion, and Lindsay tried to make me sit way up there in the balcony, and Al Sharpton was like, "No, brother, you sit right here next to me." I was so pissed. But what was great about that night is that when I first got there, Jimmy used to do the warm up before the show even started, and so coming to the show that night. And then watching Kenan Thompson do the warm up for the show before the show started, and run back as soon as that was over to get ready for the cold open or do they call it cold open? Yeah, they call it the monologue basically. And I sat there like, Kenan doing all the jobs. He got all the jobs. He got on the stage before the show even started, singing, bro, performing with a band. I was just like, hell yeah. Now I'm sitting in the balcony just like, I'm sitting behind the president of NBC. I'm just sitting there like, God dang, man. I said, I touched him. That's Kenan Thompson. He was like, get off.
Get off me.
Get off me. Security. Who is this guy? And so then, and then the monologue, bro. And then to just see Eddie and Rock and Chappelle and Kenan Thompson in one line.
And Tracy.
And Tracy in one line, and they got that shot. And to me, that's a highlight. That's when black folks be like, because you just know the beginning, and then you see where it is and where it's become. And I'm just like, it's like a Mount Rushmore because everybody's on top of what they do. Everybody, like, you're on top of SNL, you're on top of sketch comedy, you're on top of just being in people's households week after week, and now outside of SNL, and now you're making this transition into your own projects. And Funny You Should Ask on NBC, and now congratulations, sir, you got the brand new show on NBC called Kenan, the Kenan Show. But I'm also saying, dang, bro, 17 years. I believe it's 17 years on SNL. if SNL goes for another 3 years, you got to do the 3 more. You got to be like I was on for 20 years.
I feel like you was one of the first people to be like, man, you should stay there and break that record and then just keep it so that nobody can even touch it.
I told you that.
You were like one of the first people to tell me that for sure, that I actually listened to. And I was like, I probably should. Like, regardless of, my show and how it goes, and like it's gonna be looks like incredible because the cast has really been coming together. Like we got Chris Red to play my brother and Don Johnson to play my father-in-law, and Kimry Lewis from Single Parents. She's gonna be amazing. And my little daughters, Danny and Dana, the little Instagram praying angels. They pray for everybody on Instagram. And I think JB might play a role. I know you coming through there to catch a role or something at some point. So
yeah, let me know. I'll be the mechanic. I'll be the dude
we're gonna be surrounded with like great performers who are all there to, do it for the job and do it for the sake of entertaining, which is what I think resonates. Like the fact that everybody up there on stage with Eddie during his monologue was a fan of him. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of how on top of their game all those individual superstars were. You know what I'm saying? I call them guys superstars. Like I've just been active all my life, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
but no,
I've, achieved just through time whatever I've achieved and shit, and it's cool. But those guys are like icons to me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but when I was in the crowd,
to get close. But
when I was in the crowd looking at that line, I didn't see no, I just saw stars. You know what I mean? That shit didn't peak either way to me. It was wherever Eddie was, it might have maybe ticked down from Eddie because Eddie is my Mount Rushmore center face of comedy.
Right.
But everybody else, it was just like, because people don't, even if you say, I may not like him that much, people don't know how dope Tracy Morgan is. Tracy Morgan, when it just comes to just making people laugh, just talking.
It's incredible.
Unscripted, and
incredible.
He's just talking. He'll give you a classic line continuously that you'll be repeating for the next 3 months, and it was just him talking, nothing rehearsed. That's a talent.
Tracy Morgan is the only person where it's been like 5 o'clock in the morning and he is in my ear telling me something that has me crying laughing in the middle of a loud ass club or a loud ass environment, whatever it is. It's clear enough for him to be telling me something that is the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life. You know what I'm saying? And that's a randomness that's not that random, man. That dude is just brilliant. So if you catch him in those moments,
Finesse, take this finger. Now smell it. What you smell? Nothing. See, you changing, Finesse. You changing. Remember when that finger used to always smell like pussy? You're just like, nigga, it is Sunday. I'm watching church on TV. What do you watch?
Raw. Tracy Morgan,
you got my necklace? I left my necklace in the club. Chick said you had it. I need to come get it. I'm just like, okay, come get it. All right. But yeah, whatever he says, bro, it's just like, wow. And then, of course, Chappelle is my stand-up comedy inspiration. Eddie is Eddie, and Rock is Rock, and then Kenan Thompson.
Yeah, man.
And I told you, bro, I said, if there is when they go through the Guinness Book of World Records or just Black History Month or just history in general, it's at this point now where if you do 1 year past Darrell Hammond, somebody gonna come and get that record if this show is still going on. But at this point, if you comfortable, man, put that shit so out of reach where it's just
the confusing thing. I mean, I think that people don't really understand is that it's not up to me. It's not like I can just tell them, "Yo, I'm coming back." They keep inviting me back. Like Lauren doesn't want me to leave. You know what I'm saying? So that's really what the whole pleasure of it all really is. It's not that because it's a grueling schedule. You know how it is,
right?
It's
y'all have
really,
figured
really
out
time consuming.
You figured out the Kenan on NBC versus Kenan, because isn't one going to shoot in LA?
One is supposedly going to shoot in LA if it gets the chance to do so, and hopefully we can get it done or a few of them done before SNL comes back, and then squeeze out the rest, as time goes on or whatever.
That's funny how like you had an option. I was like, isn't one going to shoot in LA? Well, we know where one is going to shoot. Like,
Yeah.
it's an LA movie.
Yeah, but it's shooting in LA just because all the pros are out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, New York. I think there's a lot of shows that look like New York already that's out there that's kind of been done. And then you do want some good exteriors, and you want the weather to cooperate. And I like LA. I don't know. I don't have to justify what the fuck I'm doing.
There it is. Grown man talk right there. Kenan Thompson, Genie. I don't know if you can see my man.
Yeah, man. What'd you say?
I don't know if you can see my man, Genie. Genie usually has.
I can't.
What's up, brother? I'm all the way over
What's
here,
up?
bro.
Peace. Good to see you.
Honor, bro. Honor.
I told Genie that I said, yo, man, we got to figure out how we can get Kenan on the show. And he was just like, man, y'all must have so many stories. And I was just like, well, from getting hired to just trying to figure it out to like hitting those 1 or 2 home runs, it might be a whole month of shows will go by, but then one sketch was a dope home run in 1 month, and it just kept you floating for the next 2 months. Versus like seeing people. I think my mindset was different when I was there because I saw people trying to hit home runs week after week after week, and when I felt like it wasn't coming that easy for me, I was good with a Starkeisha sketch. I was good with a Morgan Freeman thing. I was just good with whatever somebody put me in. And then there had hit a time for me where I wasn't good anymore. Like I wasn't happy anymore. And I didn't know how to convey it. I didn't know who to talk to about it. But I showed up to work every day, but I was second guessing my funny, and I just wasn't happy. And I thought that I would have time to like, I'll get over this rut. You know what I mean? I'll get over this. I'll figure it out. And then in that third year, at the end of that third year, like you said, how they invite you back, they didn't invite me back. So I was like, I guess I won't get over. I guess I won't figure it out. But I didn't necessarily know how to have fun. This is just me personally. I didn't figure out how to have fun even when I was having fun. But I did figure out how to have fun outside of SNL, which I shouldn't have put so much energy into, bro. Because I said there needs to be a balance, so I'm about to go crazy.
The crazy part that motherfuckers don't realize, like, however much you were struggling in that third season, outside of SNL, you was fucking balling, dog. Like, out of control. You had whoever, whatever lady, whatever status she had, you could have her. And you could take her and do whatever in New York. Any restaurant, any club, any whatever kind of excursion at the drop of a hat.
Yeah,
you could do it, and was doing it.
Doing it.
Like, definitely witnessing from afar on some jealous. Like, man, Finesse be pulling.
Hey, Finesse was the Great Gatsby out there in New York,
bruh, pulling like a magnet.
There was a time where my social activities, I did put a lot of energy into the social activities.
Hey, bro, he called them social activities
because I couldn't figure out the professional wins.
That's a married man talking. Yes. I hear you.
Social activities. New York, man, they had the Garment District, and then that around the corner from Club Marquee, they had some greenhouse, and then that late night club that you kind of had to be a member but not really a member. That they said
Bungalow 8.
Bungalow, and but Butter on a Monday night. It had so many places to go to, and then on top of that, so many dope restaurants to go to. And no matter how shitty something might look on the inside, when you walk in, the shit was just dope. And you just be like, oh, it's the street.
I mean, the club scene was so cracking at one point. There was a club called Home. Like, that's how much clubbing felt like home. You know what I mean? We was in there on a weekly basis, cracking. Like, more than once a week, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because it was hip hop, it was like, pretty people everywhere, and like motherfuckers is balling and nobody fighting, basically.
Nobody fighting.
It was just all about partying and looking good and feeling good and just being in Manhattan and being young.
We always had a booth.
I understand that.
We always had a booth. We never bought a bottle, but we always had bottles. And it was always somebody's booth. Like you'd be like, who booth this is, and then you'd be like, oh, hey, Leonardo DiCaprio. You know what I'm saying? Like he have on the same Yankees hat that Kenan is wearing right now. But you gotta look up on the hat
You
to be
wouldn't
like,
even know.
hey,
Oh
bro.
shit.
You know what I mean?
Like I see Tobey Maguire, but who's that in the hat? Is Leo DiCaprio? That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Idris Elba might be
that shit
DJ.
was way too real. But then you grow out of that. You grow out of standing around looking at four walls, listening to loud music, and not having anything to take away from that. Because once that 2 hours was up, I was back in the apartment, quiet as hell, by myself. You know what I'm saying? Bed on the floor on some bullshit.
You know, there was a couple of years where I would come to New York, Kenan, because, you know, I had been coming to New York. I had these Today Show gigs, and I was coming up there messing with Tyra Banks on her show because I had the book out. But there was a time when I'd come to New York, and every time I'd hit you up, and I'd be like, yo, I'm in New York, you know, man. So, you know, what's cracking tonight? And you'd be like, yeah, I don't go out no more. I'm done with that. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, man. I get it. And I come back like 3 weeks later, yo, man, I'm in New York. So what's cracking tonight? And you'd be like, yeah, man, I told you, Finesse, man, I don't go out no more. I'm kind of done with that. And I'd be like, okay, cool. Come back to New York. Kenan, what you doing tonight? What I was doing 3 weeks ago, Finesse. Just, you know, I just pretty much stay at the crib now. And I'm like,
man, I hit a wall with that shit,
like,
man.
this is the biggest, is this the biggest prank? Because he's got to be, I'm keep catching him on a bad day. That's all it is. And I'm telling, like, for like 2.5 years, I'd just be like, Kenan, I'm in town. You, should I come by the studio? Yeah, come by the studio. You know what I mean? But Kenan Thompson would not go out at night, which made me kind of feel lost. Because I'm like, I ain't used to going out by myself. And then I just started going out, and I was just like, fuck it. Because for me, it was still, I still had that disease, man. I still was in the streets, I guess. I don't know.
No, and then I was in the street. I just wasn't in the club. You know what I'm saying? So I would be going back and forth to my cousin's house in Long Island or whatever, and like engaging in, you know, actual people time as opposed to just, you know, stand around noise, hope to get a, you know, a phone number time. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like I wanted to get to a different level of what I was doing pattern wise. You know what I'm saying? I just felt like I was looking for something different. Like I knew I wanted to settle down. I didn't know exactly how to, you know, meet somebody when you settle down, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody's outside. Like they're not just gonna be in my apartment, you know what I'm saying? So I was just like, I don't know how this is gonna go, but I do know I don't want to just go to the club. You know what I'm saying? So it would be some random shit that I would wander out, and then I would actually bump into like my wife, you know, and pursue that in a different kind of way. And it took like, you know, a while before we actually started kicking it, and then we became boyfriend and girlfriend, and then we were dating for 3 years, and then we got married. You know what I'm saying? And then we were married for 3 years, and then we had kids. You know what I mean? It's just like a period of time. We weren't like kicking it before we were married for 3 years. We were kicking it for a while, but we were married for like 3 years, and then we had babies, and
then that changed everything.
That changed everything. But I was looking for that because I wanted, you know, the family life, and I wanted to marry, and I only wanted to marry once. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to like really take my time and try to pick, you know, or have somebody pick me. You know what I'm saying? And like just be open to the universe like that shit. And I don't know. I just felt like I wasn't on, you know, another level I was trying to get to. I was like, what's another level past just knowing all these New York clubs? Like, is it private jetting somewhere? Like, why can't I, like, you know what I mean? Like Will Smith be talking about like his favorite places like Monaco or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Or Monte Carlo or whatever. So I had never been there. So it's like, how do I get there? And that's what I was kind of focused on. But yeah, it was just like, I don't know. I got tired of that standing around looking at the dark basically. And the only way you can enjoy it is by being faded. And I was like, no, I don't want to just do that all the time.
Hey, let me tell you how to reach us today. Let me tell you how to reach us today. I will need you to call that 818. 814-6241. 814-6241. Yo, that's how you reach us. That's how you get through. Leave me a message. And we'll get back to you. I said, that's how you reach us. That's how you reach us. That's how you get through. Leave me a message. Hey, we'll get back to. Hey, we'll get back to you. Hey, we'll 46241. That's so funny. Every time you have somebody on from SNL, and anytime you go do an interview, you go talk to some people. So they Google you real quick, and then they go see all your characters you did from SNL. And then the first thing they do, so you can do 50 Cent? I'm like, no, I dressed up like 50 Cent. I can't do 50 Cent.
I can't do
I just
50 Cent at
dressed
all.
up like him. Give us a little Venus Williams. I dressed
I don't
up
have it.
like
I don't
Venus
have it.
Williams. I ain't got no Venus Williams voice. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. Man, I'm gonna let you go. But first, I always ask everybody, as far as if they in the comedy game, who your Mount Rushmore of comedy is. Like who are your faces right now? And this is, they could be people in the game right now or people who have retired. But who is Kenan Thompson? Who is Kenan Thompson's Mount Rushmore of comedy?
I mean, comedy is it's a large rainbow. So you have to categorize the first one. Like if there's several Mount Rushmores, I think each comedy category deserves its own, because stand-up alone could fill that up. You know what I'm saying? Just with Richard and Dave and Eddie, you know what I mean? That's 3 to 4 faces. I would be like Martin, but then I left out, all my white brothers and sisters, or my Indian brothers and sisters, or my Asians, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's a lot of them. Like,
what Asian?
Really
what Asian person would eat? Tell me one Asian.
Like on Mount Rushmore, comedy wise, stand up wise, yeah, that's tough. I mean, maybe Margaret Cho or.
No, now you just naming an Asian. Now you just naming Asian.
I mean, as far as like people that have been doing it for a while,
No, but I mean, like Kenan, your personal.
Ken Jeong, I would put Ken Jeong up there. Maybe
your personal. I'm going damn near pee on myself anytime. Like if I could just chill out in the room with this brother. Those are the people. You don't want to hang out with no damn Margaret Cho.
So. No, but I do want to hang out with Dave, and I've been blessed enough to do it, and Eddie and Martin, and but also like Patton Oswalt makes me laugh real hard, and Bill Burr, you know what I'm saying? Patrice, rest in peace. Patrice, but I've just been listening to anybody with an album, basically. So it's been like a lot of people.
I love Patrice. I just wish Patrice was still here, because they would have found a way to put his funny and his voice on TV. I mean, it was coming.
Like him and Bernie, man, like just trailblazers,
Yeah.
Like if there was a way to have a movie where Bernie Mac, Patrice O'Neal, JB Smooth, and all these people could be in the same movie like Chris Rock did. What was the name of that movie that he did?
When he did,
he had everybody in it.
When Chris Rock did a movie.
Yeah, he had everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. It was I remember that. I forgot the name. Top 10, right?
Top 10.
Yeah.
Yes, top 10. Like if there could be a top 10 right now with like Bernie and Patrice alive, man, pull your guts out. You know what I'm saying? So
we need to write something,
people,
man.
George Carlins and all those, like Jim Carrey. And I don't know, I could just list people, because it's what we do. So I have a long list of people that I'm fans of, but my definite go-tos on a daily basis, Bill Burr, Patton Oswalt, Dave. Yeah, people with like comedy albums that keep coming out that I can keep listening to. Shit.
What we need to lock up Colin for about 2 weeks, and we need to write a black ensemble with everybody in that bitch,
Che will handle it.
Who?
We don't need Colin. Michael Che will handle that.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Well, I go to we'll have Colin just come in the room and pitch it.
Yeah. Exactly. He'll get it done. He'll get it across.
Yeah, man.
That's funny, man.
Who's winning? Who's winning right now? Who's winning right now in COVID? Who is winning during the COVID right now? Who's just all over the place? Who's popped out? Who's just stood out for you in a positive way in COVID?
Who's popped out of COVID in a positive way?
Yeah, like I had like people like D Nice, oh,
for sure. Like D Nice, I think you got to give it to Swiss and Timbo for that versus, man.
Absolutely.
That was incredible.
Yes,
that's an incredible come up. And I think whoever's staying busy, if you're figuring out a way to stay busy and stay productive, Like anybody starting a podcast like you, like me, I started mine, you know what I'm saying? And like just trying to figure out ways to keep pumping out material in a way that can actually get to the people. So thank God for podcasting. Thank God that there's an audience for podcasting. You know what I'm saying? So I just think there's ours is called You Already. I've been told to plug everything. So ours is called You Already Know. Go, I guess, listen to what we've been doing. Up to like 13 eps, you know what I mean? And it's just figuring out ways to stay busy and staying in touch with the people, basically.
Right. Because the podcast game is basically a numbers game, in my opinion.
It's a content game. It's the Byron Allen game.
Yeah. Yes.
Byron sent me an article. Byron Allen is funny, by the way. He sends me articles about himself that people write up. And, he won't have any conversation attached to it. He'll just send the article. And I'm like, that's dope.
That's dope,
and
Byron.
It'll seem like it's part of like a chain mail type of thing, but it feels like it's not,
Yeah.
Even if it is like a group of people, he's directly sending his achievements to people. So it was just funny that I got that. And I was like, that's a dope article. But in the article, they were saying like he was one of the original, the game of it all kind of, for the pioneer is content. You know what I'm saying? It's like getting that volume up and getting your Amazon warehouse distribution type of thing up, basically. And that's how he was able to stay in control of his shit, because it was hard for the first 5 years, but he was kind of the only employee he had to look out for. And, he didn't have a lot of overhead or whatever, but he made sure whatever money he had went toward booking awesome interviews or something to build that content.
Right.
And, 10 years down the road, he sold that to whoever and off it went. But I didn't even know he used to write for like J.J. Walker, and he was in the room with Jay Leno and David Letterman and all of that. It's like up in the comedies. I didn't know his stand-up, writing background. All I knew him for was being Byron Allen and showing up at all these press junkets and having these interviews for some reason, and then hosting a show with comedians but never telling jokes. It's always kind of deferring to them to do their bits to make your show look good. And I was like, well, this guy's, just kind of,
I said, that's
like
smart.
Capitalizing off of people, but he's really smart. Exactly.
I remember one time I said, Byron, I know you're probably tired of doing that because you've done a bunch of seasons. So why don't we keep it going and let me be the host? And he was like, are you on crack? One thing that I like about
like
Byron,
y'all still don't know the hustle?
Yeah.
I have shown y'all.
I have showed you the formula. And he did. When I first got out to LA, I would see Byron go up at least once or twice at the Laugh Factory. And it reminded me that he did comedy, because when I was a kid, I think he was on a show called Real People, and he was one of the real people, one of the hosts of this show called Real People. And there was an ensemble cast. But then when I got out here, I saw all the people that you were like, I wonder where this person went. They in LA doing stand-up or just waiting for the next thing. But him owning those movie junket press interviews and being able to sell that content as a show coming up next. I mean, he did years of that. And when he sold it, reinvested that into Comics Unleashed, where he owned that. And then he was off and running.
The fucking Weather Channel.
Now he owned the Weather Channel.
Out of his mind.
Yeah, man.
Crazy.
And I feel like
pay attention to the nerds.
I was just getting ready to say that. Sometimes
anybody you think is nerdy or you think is whitewashed or whatever, just because he happens to be a little bit different and not as slangy as everybody else. If he continues to have a career in this business, pay attention to them, because they know who they are, they know where they're coming from, but they also know the game. It's a game.
Absolutely. And I definitely moving into this phase of my life, and I see you moving into that 40s phase of your life, and where you're like, it's not important to be super liked, to be super trendy, or to be super like urban. Just be you. Just be your authentic self, and all those ideas you got, surround yourself with people who can help you execute those ideas. Because if this is the game we in, we might as well play it to win and play it to the best of our ability.
I mean, this is definitely the game we in. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, they say that there's no like pop song on the like charting Billboard Hot 100 or something right now for the first time in like a decade or something like that, because hip hop is, kind of taking over everything, but there's so many different people doing hip hop. it can't all just be like street gangster shit. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got to be their genuine self, and we all just happen to love dope ass beats,
Right.
bitches. I'm just kidding. Rims and shit. But you know, everybody like is really, you know, culture, fashion, you know, whatever. It's very leaning towards hip hop right now because everybody feels like that's one of the safest places to be their authentic selves or something like that. But that tree is branching out to be inclusive of so many different kind of versions of that. So yeah, I think people aggregate towards whoever's doing their most authentic them.
Right.
You're absolutely right.
Absolutely. I saw with Nick and his troubles, and I saw him on his podcast, and he was not only educating himself and educating like his fan base by having this Jewish rabbi on, and they were agreeing with a lot of stuff. I think because of the person he was in front of when he was saying what he said at first, it came out a little harsh, but he said what he said. And then when he had the Jewish rabbi on, I saw Nick still saying what he said. What's that? That was Nick Cannon saying, "Amen." Don't talk about me.
Amen. That's enough.
Don't talk about me. But I saw Nick still saying what he said, but it came out in a different way because they were both educating each other and they agreed on a lot of stuff. And then when I read the comments, it was a lot of his fan base saying, "Why you got this Jewish man on your show? Like, we don't care. Like, why you selling out?" And I was just like, and some girl had said something that just basically had said, you know, this is dumb. And I thought that her comment was the dumbest thing on it because it was just a flat, this is dumb. And I'm like,
well, the comment section is definitely not the place you want to go if you're trying to feel good about a specific issue.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
There's going to be somebody in there to just throw a wrench in the game on purpose. Like,
Right.
You know, it's trying to like make a 2-year-old take the problems of the world seriously. They're just not going to do it.
Right.
So,
it's like the black lady in New York.
You take the ones that make sense, obviously, and you leave the ones that are just trash. You know what I mean? That's all you can do.
Do you
it's like take the lady? What were you saying?
I was going to say, so you as because I was piggybacking off of that. It was like the black lady in New York pouring the paint on the Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, all
mural.
that kind of like little shit where they try to like bring out like real war tactics of, you know, guerrilla people are hiring or, you know, divide and conquer type, you know, tactic type shit. When that shit starts coming out, you know, you don't want to believe it because you're actually watching it happen. This is like the first time you're, you know, probably able to see in the palm of your hand these kind of, you know, psychological warfare tactics or whatever it is to use a black person to paint over a Black Lives Matter mural.
Right.
You know what I mean? That kind of bullshit.
Because
like,
that person is getting
finding
used.
These people. How are they paying these people? It's like as shocking as the picture of all them like preachers and shit when Trump first went in there. You know what I mean? It's like, oh shit, I didn't know we was feeling like that as a whole black people. Like we just patting Trump on the back. You know, all these South Carolina preachers and shit went in there. And he ain't said shit about it since, you know what I mean, or helped out in any kind of way. But whatever, they went when, you know, the opportunity, you know, basically was brought to them. Like, you got a chance to come to the White House and talk to the president about your issues. Are you going to take that chance or not? So a lot of people did. Kanye did. Steve Harvey did. They all went. You know what I'm saying? But now we are fully aware that you're dealing with not only a sociopath, but also somebody who's never going to admit to doing anything outside of his own agenda or anything that, you know, is necessarily wrong. He'll never admit that it was his fault, basically.
Right.
He'll throw up everybody else under the bus and shit. So to have all that information just pouring into you, whatever, is hard almost to take it seriously. You know what I mean? Because it's like, well, you know, these people are just crazy. It's just craziness everywhere. And I just want to shut it down and just live my life or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But you can't do that.
Right.
You have to put these motherfuckers on blast, see their face, see who they are, disrupt their lives, find out who's paying them to do this bullshit. It's not how they truly feel. No black person in the world, whether you agree with Black Lives Matter or not, is going to go out there and dump on the mural. I don't think it ain't that serious.
Unless you mentally just happen to be, unless you mentally ill.
You happen to be that, right. You happen to be, but you're not going to have 3-4 different kind of mentally ill people all on the same agenda. You know what I'm saying? Like they all going to be on some different crazy shit. Like I want to go poop on the agenda, or I want to, you know what I mean? I want to pee on, whatever it is.
Right.
But you know, it's just like you gotta just do your due diligence, find out who they are, put them on blast, just like all these other like Karens that they've been exposing, and you know, people flipping out in Costco and losing their jobs subsequently because of that. And that's
Right.
all you can really do.
Right.
I don't know. It's disturbing. Like it's almost as disturbing as, you know, allowing people the freedom to be a Republican or whatever, just because the times are so dire. Like there's this representative in Utah, and he's just way far down the Trump trail and just thinks Trump is a good dude and, you know, praises everything that the Republican Party does and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, you're in Utah though. You know what I'm saying? So It's not hard for you to be like, these white people ain't never done nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? Blah, blah, blah. Like, what is really the issue? Y'all tripping, blah, you know, all that like house Negro type ideology, you know what I mean? But also this man is a war veteran and he has the right to choose how he, you know, views his perspective, basically.
Right.
However, it's on us to change perspective when we see that it's wrong. You know what I mean? You're looking through the wrong lens, bro. You're looking through a lens that is clear over here because there's no storm over here. The storm is over here. So if you take that same lens and put it through the storm, you're going to see it's fucked up. Period.
And when you don't change, then it just becomes I don't want to admit I was wrong. Or, you know
and
what
it's
I mean?
like, man, nobody's looking for that. Nobody's looking to point the finger and say, I told you so. There's no time for that.
Right.
All we want is to like stop killing us. You know what I mean? And like bring down some of this, you know, equality as far as like wealth is concerned. And like those are probably the two main goals.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because everything else is
Basic.
underneath that in some sort of way.
Right.
You know?
There's a lot of stuff that's systemic, but let's start with the stop shooting us for traffic violations.
Right.
Let's start there.
Or anything.
Yes, for anything.
You know, like a
if
lot of
we're
people
unarmed,
just like understand the mentality of a person in that situation. You know, that's what they should be training the police for, is like understanding the mentality of what you are going to be confronted with because of these systematic things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That man, Rashad
Brooks.
Man that died in front of Rashad. You know, he might have had a felony or he might have been in the system once or twice. That's how he was talking. Like he had a record or whatever and didn't want no trouble and was just like, I'll even walk home. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to. And dude just kept trying to coax him. I hate that video.
Right.
He just kept trying to coax him into admitting his guilt, like on camera more and more and more. And he could have just easily like either given that man a ride home.
Right. You
know, this is a citizen. This is a human being. You know what I mean? They're not treating us like none of that. So all that is just like flat out back to damn near civil rights. Like we need our human being rights.
In the Rashad Brooks case, why was it clearly he was drunk? Why was it so important for the police officer to make an arrest? That's drunk.
What I'm saying.
Why are you trying to coax him into saying I'm guilty of being drunk?
That's what I'm saying.
To use the rest of your night
understand.
to process somebody for a DUI? You just gave him permission to move his car. Now, if you give me permission to move my car out of the line, you're kind of making me feel like we're going to talk this thing out and you're going to let me go home. But when you hear the backstory about
the whole shit was some bullshit.
Yeah, when you hear the backstory
man
about
sleeping
there's
in
a
his
birthday,
car, man.
There's a birthday party tonight. You know, who wants to go to jail? Who wants to explain to their daughter and their wife, I got locked up, so I'm gonna miss the birthday party.
But at any point when somebody says, yo, I'll walk home.
Yes.
Like, how do you not just let them go? They on foot. It's not illegal to be drunk on foot.
Yes.
It's not illegal to be drunk. It's illegal to be drinking and driving.
I tell people when I talk about that case and I said, listen, when the police showed up, that car was already parked. Police don't have no proof that man drove anywhere. The police cannot say we pulled you over drinking and driving. You basically pulled a sleeping man out of his car. So where is the crime? Where is the crime that you just witnessed?
He was so lazy, he didn't even try to chase him. You know what I mean? He just immediately shot him.
Yeah.
That's how lazy and evil he was.
And then the cops the cops turned the whole thing around and said, well, he did have a lethal weapon. He had I said, wait a minute, you mean the non-lethal weapon that y'all use on us? Y'all just used that taser on him. So now that he has that taser,
first of all, it ain't enough research done on that I'm aware of, public knowledge of the human psychosis when they are faced with fear like that. You know what I'm saying? You see a taser coming out that's about to shoot you. Shit, I remember like the belt coming out when you're about to get hit, and like all that kind of acting you do to make sure you don't get hit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's just, human fucking survival mode basically at that point. So you a supposed authority figure, man, he could have been squashed that shit. But anyway, we know that was an injustice, and all those kinds of things is not going to be allowed to just continue to move forward, basically. So they could try to throw paint on the murals all they want to. It's not going to change the fact that there are strong movements going on, like the one in Portland, even though they throwing all kinds of crazy police tactics at them up there. You know what I'm saying? They standing strong. And
I thought that was strong as hell, bro, when I saw all those moms come out and basically put a circle of moms around the protesters, and they started singing the other night. And I'm like, how could you see that? And then those are the people you want to send the stormtrooper feds out to tear gas and beat and hit the Navy veteran with the stick like that. The old
it's
white
awful,
dude.
Man. And the awful part about it is the way they try to spin shit. And they'll put all those images up and be like, you're not safe in Biden's America. But this really literally footage of Trump's America that they're using. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that's the crazy part about it. And people will watch that shit and be like, believe in that shit.
Absolutely.
Like, how stupid can we be as a country? Like we gotta like step up because this is the time. Like
Kenan,
there's not gonna be any recovering from
when
America
I tell you,
after this.
I said the same damn thing. I literally woke my wife up and I said, babe, guess what I just saw? She said, what? I just saw a Trump campaign ad, and it was saying you won't be safe in Biden's America. But all the footage of what they showed is what's going on in Trump's presidency. So
exactly.
Who put that together? Like, who's not smart enough to say, wait a minute, that happened yesterday? You know what I mean?
Lots of people.
Yeah. And you're calling it Biden's America. Biden wants to defund the police. Do you want this to happen?
Make it seem like, they're trying to make it seem like the liberals are responsible for all of this, chaos, basically. You know what I'm saying? It's all on the Democratic side, basically.
Yeah.
Like, how is that even possible?
Right.
How can one side that's fighting for no more oppression be the oppressors?
Right.
That makes zero sense. But to somebody living in, Okefenokee, Florida, or whatever the fuck, that doesn't really understand all that, and like all they, really understand and know is the things that they're comfortable seeing, like misinformation type of places, man, or how the media, I'm glad they finally took cops down, even though I used to watch it religiously, but that move
was a good show
of removing that, it's a step in the right direction of the narrative of not every black person is a fugitive from justice.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In some sort of way. Right. So
absolutely.
I personally feel like it's like almost our responsibility to like infiltrate those areas and let people know that are just sitting in their bullshit of ignorance. It's like, it's nice to just be in this pocket of people that look like you and everything is fine. It seems like you leave your door open at night all of a sudden, and that's fine. Also, be aware of what's happening 20 minutes down the road with all these people that have these issues to where they can't get this kind of help from the system or that kind of help from the system, but they can't get busted and their lives took for 30 years with no DNA evidence or whatever, and finally let go and be like, oh, sorry, no kind of payback, no kind of this, that, and the other. You know what I'm saying? So don't, be surprised when there's going to be some sort of ahead, like what's happening right now. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be pushback. Exactly. So
I'm all for it. I want the smoke.
Wicked. I ain't mean to get militant, but this is the time.
This is, bro. When I tell you that, when it comes to people like the Shannon Sharps and the Seed of God and Bakari Sellers and anybody that just gets a chance to be on TV and use that platform to just remind everybody, yeah, we know y'all want to watch basketball. We know football season coming up, but we've never had this much momentum all at one time, and we've never had this diverse of a group saying, yeah, you know what? They have a point. We are sick of this bullshit. Don't squander this away, because we can't wait for the next person to get their neck cracked by a knee from a crooked cop to say, oh, we're going to start all over again, and this is good, because people ain't going to believe it. This Generation Z is so fired up because they was babies when we was doing this shit back in the day. but
and can't probably even believe all
yeah.
this shit is going down.
But
You
in
know
their
what I
mind,
mean?
and their mindset is, how dare you? I wish you would.
Yeah.
And we need to fight. We need to prop that momentum up, because we also be like, yo, man, they will shoot you, or they will tase you, or back up. But they're fearless. And you need the combination of both. You need the Al Sharptons connecting with the Black Lives Matter, connecting with the young people, connecting with the moms, connecting with the people. Everybody needs to come together, and I just don't think we'll ever have this momentum
It just
again.
feels different, man. It just feels different. It feels way more just specifically targeted towards Black people, as far as like trying to annihilate the existence of, you know what I mean? When I was growing up, when we was growing up in Atlanta, it wasn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
We knew Atlanta, had its history or whatever, but we went to Stone Mountain and watched the laser show with everybody that was white, you know what I mean? And it wasn't nothing. It was like, yeah, we should have known, I guess, that those were Confederate soldiers on the march and on the blue and pride and shit, but nobody was overly throwing it in our face like that.
Right.
We was all eating picnics together, and that was the show. It was a laser show, and everybody would leave. You know what I mean? There was no talk of those are our ancestors and we built this shit and blah, blah, blah. It wasn't none of that. You know what I'm saying? And any kind of run-in with the police was if you was doing bad, like if you was on the Smokey and the Bandit side, you know what I'm saying? It was all kind of criminals of any kind of race, basically, you know? But now it seems like that movie, The Hate U Give, broke my heart because they were so young and going through, it seemed like, such targeted annihilation.
Hold on 1 second, bro.
From the around because you was gangbanging or some shit like that, or selling crack, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, if the police came around, it was because you was doing dirt or doing trouble or whatever. It wasn't like at any given moment, just because you Black, your life could be taken. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the time right now, and it's like that's not gonna fly.
Right, man. When I say, the whole, and we all know this, and we all knew what we all heard, and we could never get connected because cell phones didn't do what they did back then. But because of cell phones now and everybody being able to organize just with sending a flyer to somebody's Instagram, like to show a video, and it doesn't really do us a lot of good because we see the same type of videos. But I want to encourage people that when you do see a fucked up video, tag 4 of your white friends, tag 4 of your Jewish friends, tag 4 of your Asian friends, tag a lot of people who are not Black, just so they can see the footage. We tag each other and we have 300 comments about how fucked up it is. But I literally had people who know me personally tell me, I didn't know it was that bad. Well, what can we do? Because they just didn't know. And so when they see the video, they say, "Oh yeah, that's unexplainable." You know what I mean? And so they do get upset. And then a lot of people are like, "Well, how can I help?" And even if I say even if you don't want to post it on your page, just hit a like, just leave a comment, and just say, "Yeah, this is fucked up." Because believe it or not, when people read your comment and they see your picture and your skin doesn't look like our skin, they're gonna be like, and that makes a difference. Believe it or not. Versus people always saying, yeah, but what did the person do? What's the context of the video? What happened before the video was shot? What were his grades like? Why did he have on a hoodie? Why was he chewing gum? It was just like, man, stop with all the bullshit. And so, yeah, like you said, bro, this momentum.
Stop with the bullshit, man.
Just stop with the bullshit. Yeah, we got the momentum. We just got to keep it going. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Don't let it go. I mean, we can't let it go because there's too much real shit happening. And then there's too much, people in positions of power that don't want to relinquish their bullshit at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And the more they sit stubborn on it, the more they expose themselves, which is fine. You know what I'm saying? And it's like the more they comment is like, oh, I don't agree with this statue being pulled down. It's like, oh, okay, we need to be paying attention to you. Okay, what's your name? And all of you motherfuckers is going on a list. Same way they have a fucking manuscript about people that say the word bomb or some shit. You know what I mean? We're gonna be doing the same shit.
Right. We need
a data, following through on all of that. Like,
we need a database,
but
we need
making sure when they up for election or whatever, you know what I mean, we vote them out and like just start playing the game. The boring reading the newspaper that we thought was corny type of existence is really the only existence now we know, basically.
We need several different databases and just sites of where we're like, oh, this person said what? put their name on that list. And then we find out when that person is running again, and then we get everybody fired up to be like, remember a year and a half ago when they said this? You know what I mean? And we mobilize and get that person out, because there's too many good people that just want to look out for everybody. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, Kenan Thompson, man,
shit is real.
I knew this time was gonna I knew it was gonna do this. I knew it was just gonna run, and before I knew it, I'm like, damn, it's been 2 hours almost. I really appreciate you, brother. I love you.
Yeah, man, that's what happens when you've known people for 17 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I was a fan before I met you. I remember the first time I saw you smoking a cigarette, and I was like, Kenan, you are smoking a cigarette. You was like, I am 27 years old, Finesse. I was like, oh, my bad.
Thank God I gave all that up.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Terrible habit. But yeah.
Yeah, man. And so right now, I don't know what to say, people. What can you say about a guy who's, you never get in trouble? Do you ever notice that you never get in trouble?
I do, but I can keep it pretty contained because it don't get that outrageous.
Okay, there it is. I remember some stories back in the day that I guess that was the old Kenan Thompson, but
getting pulled over left and right, stuff like that.
Getting pulled over left and right. Man,
whatever, man. I'm not out to do any harm, basically. So the good Lord looks out for people like that.
That's right.
I also reciprocate. I do good for people. Like if I see somebody broke down, I'll pull over and help them push their car out the way or whatever. And like, I'm that guy. So
there it is.
Which was you reap what you sow. Faith the size of the mustard seed. Any of that can move mountains.
That pay it forward works. I'm so happy that movie came out because it definitely works. And
it definitely does.
When you're a blessing in somebody's life, unexpected blessings come back into your life tenfold. Man,
remember that, people.
Remember that, people. Once again, I want to thank my main man, Jeannie D's.
Glad to be here, bro. This was a dope one. People.
Thank you,
don't forget to rate and review.
This is only part one because I'll be back because I feel like we left a lot out on the table.
Bro, it's so much we left out on the table because what we probably need to do is get on the phone and say, what are we allowed to talk about? What don't you feel uncomfortable with talking about?
No, nothing. Because I'm open book, man. Like if I need to apologize about something, then I'll address it when it happens. But I don't think off the cuff speak to offend necessarily. So I'm good with whatever. And whatever I said is how I feel. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to backtrack on that.
Absolutely.
If people take offense to it, it's just, it is what it is. But the only thing I feel like we left kind of like in the wind, it was just the Mount Rushmore of comedy. Is very like a black person or a white person.
There it is.
Like for us.
Let's address it.
Just because that's the experience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess that's just been the experience of America because we just now getting around to like Russell Peters and this guy named Ronnie Cheng, who is incredibly funny, and Ken Jeong just came out, with Hangover and stuff. So I guess it just hasn't been time enough yet for somebody to be in the game that long, you know what I mean? Because even back in the Richard Pryor days, I don't remember, many ethnicities being popular in comedy like that. It was usually very white or black, basically. So that was the only thing I could see people being like, oh, they don't know nothing about other races, comedians and shit. Right. That's not necessarily the case.
But see, our phones couldn't do what they could do.
Like, we ain't even mentioned Cheech and Chong, but we should mention it.
Back then, the people who was doing comedic movies and just doing comedic acting, you know what I mean? To me, they are just as important as the people. Because, like, I tell you what, if I watch Jimmy Walker do stand up, I'm not gonna enjoy myself. If I watch Jimmy Walker on Good Times, it's not good. But if I watch Jimmy Walker on Good Times, I'm gonna enjoy myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you see that Jimmy Walker Michael Winslow comedy special they just put out?
No.
Where they like go on tour with each other and like Jimmy does 30 minutes or something and then Michael Winslow does like.
First of all, Jimmy only has 6 minutes.
Horrible.
Jimmy's
absolutely. Treat yourself to a horrible experience and watch that. Number one, you just can't really understand why Michael Winslow is so Oreo-ish. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess that's a a derogatory term, so I shouldn't call him that.
Hey,
but you don't expect him to be that way,
Right.
for whatever reason. Maybe just because he comes from the 80s and he used to wear an afro, but you don't know his life, I guess, outside of, sound effects. So it's kind of shocking.
I think he got swooped up early in his career, and they never let him come back over to the other side. And they used all his sound effects and impersonations, and he kept himself in that bubble.
Treat yourself. I'm just telling you, treat yourself to the JJ Michael Winslow comedy special. It is trash.
I will.
Oh God.
My man's podcast is called You Already Know. Did I get that right?
That's right. Thank you very much. Yes.
You already
Yes,
know.
indeed.
He's on episode 13. I get every post about a new one dropping. So they in the trenches, and so I'm pretty sure they're going to reach 100 before we know it. And we can all be a Joe Rogan up in here because
you know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
Everybody get it. Everybody get in line with your tray out. Get your food.
Yes, sir.
Food is being deposited.
Absolutely, man. Because this is the future. People just want to. When I talk to so many different people, where'd he go?
I'm right back.
Oh, okay. When I talk to so many people and they like, yeah, man, I was talking to this one guy. He was like, yeah, man, I we on a nut farm. So you on a nut farm? He said, yeah, we pick pecans. So what we actually do is we put podcasts on a loudspeaker, and then we just listen all damn day to different people's podcasts as we pick nuts in the heat. I'm like, well, shit.
It's back to that. That sounds like some Great Depression era time. Well, whatever.
Whatever, as long as they listening,
Right.
So man, when I come up with a treatment for our ensemble Martin Luther King Day movie, the Martin Luther King. We're gonna have a Martin Luther King Day
man. This is gonna be so many laughs.
Yeah, man.
I can't wait.
Kenan Thompson, Finesse Mitchell had a lot of dope sketches where we just piggybacked off of each other and just I guess we were our own version of Jimmy and Horatio back in the day. And but what we would not do is we wouldn't break. We wouldn't just laugh through a sketch, even though we was already cracking up.
We were too nervous.
Yeah. They're going to let us go. We laughed through a sketch. Don't you laugh through a sketch.
Look at them. But really it served Jimmy. It didn't serve Horatio that well. You know what I'm saying? It served him like to be in favor of Jimmy, but I would see Horatio kind of have to like straighten his shit up whenever he tried to like laugh his way through a sketch on Wednesdays and then that shit not get picked. He'd be like, okay, I got to come with like some real shit or whatever that everybody really laughs through. So
I knew when you was taking off on the show, Kenan, when we would ride together sometimes to rehearsal, and we get there and they'd be like, okay, Kenan, you're up next, so get ready. And Finesse, you're late. And I'm like, we came together. What you talking about? We rode together. Kenan.
Hey, Kenan.
Kenan.
Hey, tell them that we came together. I'm like, yeah. What you talking about? We came together. Oh my God,
man, them SNL days, bro. Peg that, because that's our promo right there. Bro, like I said, did we do the rate, subscribe, and all that good stuff? Okay. Well, my brother, I appreciate you, man. You come out here.
Likewise, bro. As soon as we start having guests, man, you got to return the favor and come on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be my pleasure. And all I can say is if you find a character on Kenan's show in success, and there is that dude at the grocery store or the bar keeper or the whoever, think of your boy. I would love to be on stage with you one more again. And
you know it.
And don't, bro, I know you said you don't want to do stand up, but come on, man. Go somewhere and put a hot 10 together and then just put it on the gram. Just put it on the gram. Because once you start working that muscle, Kenan, you're going to be like, I should have been doing this 15 years ago. You know what I mean?
I know. It's like hustling backwards almost. But I really wish I had that, because I respect stand-up, which is why I haven't just thrown out a comedy special just because I have a name that people recognize or whatever. You know what I mean? And I could be like, oh, I got a Netflix special too, because, I can talk for 30 minutes about just my life and shit. But it's not in stand-up form. I thoroughly respect the format of stand-up and the people that do it and the dedication it takes to do it well. I just don't have time for that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to be with these babies. I'm trying to build this empire, this, that, and the other. But on the side, I always have that itch to just be like, let me just write some things down and try them out this way or that way. You know what I'm saying? This interview or that interview. But it's fucked up because it's always something that's recorded. So I never really get a chance to tweak it. I always have to like move on to something else. So it would be nice to like be able to carve out a pocket, but I don't know. That's kind of, you know, where this podcast time is coming in too. You know, it's taking up a lot of time, just a lot of things. So I think I respect stand up too much not to do it the grueling way. You know what I'm saying? Like try to hustle up $100 type hustle. That's when you really got that muscle going. You really be unstoppable. Like the one thing that, you know, you can say what you want about Cat Williams, like Cat will always be able to grab the mic and make a living. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
He has been through the exact craziest type of mud that you can go through and still come out on the other side breathing. You know what I'm saying? So his comic muscle is what has gotten him through all of that craziness. The fact that he can continue to grab the mic and give himself another chance to pay a bill that he might just, you know, have outstanding from too many private jets or Bentleys or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? You can always try to get those things back in balance because he has a real skill. But that's another, you know, tidbit of information. Get a skill up, ladies and gentlemen, whether it's comedy or whatever, but get you a skill that you can rely on.
Hey, let me ask you one question, and we still good, right? Just let me get your perspective, Kenan, on the cancel culture right quick. Because one thing, but you talking about Cat Williams is you know why that resonates with me? Because as a black community, we love certain people so much for whatever they got us through during our time of life when we're saying, oh, Pimp Chronicles 1, Pimp Chronicles 2, da-da-da. And then all of a sudden you see Cat get beat up by a boy. And you're like, why was he fighting a kid in the projects? What was Cat doing in the project? And then all of a sudden it's like, Cat got a special coming. He's in Jacksonville. And he's back. And we right back there with him. And it's just certain people that we won't cancel. You know what I mean? And we hope they get help. I hope Kanye West gets help. I don't think people are ready to just, I mean, a lot of people's like, I'm done with him. But when that album dropped, you might be like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's another misdefinition, another like misuse of the word when they say like cancel culture, just because, you know, the word cancel, I don't think should pertain to the person. It should pertain to what the person's actions are causing and the consequences that they're causing. Cancel that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
let me get a hand clap on that.
You know,
yes.
I don't know. It's like if a person, it's hard because with the Me Too movement at the same time, it's like, okay, now that's damage that you're doing to individuals that's, you know, almost irreparable. You know what I'm saying? Like people don't forget, you know, being abused. You know what I'm saying? People don't forget that kind of shit. Kanye West running his mouth and like maybe pulling votes from Biden and all of that shit, you know, cancel that. Like, you know, just his behavior. And then, yeah, if he comes back with the music, we'll be able to celebrate the music, you know what I'm saying? Which is what we want to celebrate mostly probably from him anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really all about him being a dope producer, but everybody's allowed to spread their wings until those wings start flapping shit. And then now we got to take cover. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, I ain't really trying to fucking listen to the rants and ravens of somebody that makes it seem like, or it seems like could be a distraction from what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And like, I want to make sure people stay focused on the agenda at hand. So like cancel distractions and shit like that. But I think some people ended up canceling themselves for real, like anybody on the Me Too side of things. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, now you really there's really not a lot of coming back from that if you're on the wrong side of that. So
if your actions have hurt another person, then then you reap what you sow. But if you say something and your actions have only hurt yourself, why can't we forgive you for hurting yourself? You got yourself in trouble. You may have said something offensive, but once you like figure out, oh, okay, I was wrong here, but I was right here, but I just didn't say it the right way here. But I do admit I was wrong here and here. Then we should be able to move on from it if an apology is genuine, because it was just what you said, and then you really only hurt yourself. You know, everybody else who acting like they so fragile. Time,
yeah, I think someone being canceled means that they had to be like overly in progress with something, or like overly like praised or supported with something, and then they get canceled. You know what I'm saying? So maybe people need to support normalcy more as opposed to eccentric behavior more. You know what I'm saying? And then you don't have to like hit this wall with somebody when they go too far for you.
Right.
And you want to cancel them.
Right. Got it.
Yeah.
We got that. Got it.
You got that? Got that?
Got that. Got that.
Well, these shit, man. Y'all brothers hold it down, man. In the
All
valley,
right,
man. Try not to burn up. Wear y'all masks. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Heard that.
Absolutely.
Word.
People, you heard from Kenan Thompson yourself. He believes in the mask. Wear your damn mask. I don't care what nobody say out there. I don't care if Trump was 9 months late on telling y'all to wear a mask.
Do your own research. Look it up. Look up your own shit about the transference of germs with a mask and without. You ain't gotta look up COVID and all that extra and the statistics and blah blah blah. Just that basic search. Do that basic search of the spread of germs in a masked environment and a maskless environment, and you should be convinced.
Right.
If you're not, then you probably won't be convinced of anything. You just want to live in conspiracies and shit like that, and that's fine, whatever. But at the same time, you don't need to be voting on shit. I think people that vote on shit should be open-minded people.
Right. And for all you, and a couple of brothers, I don't know your names, but I saw you at the 7-Eleven the other day. I applaud you that you had on your mask, the two brothers, but you was passing the blunt back and forth. Come on, man. What you doing? What you doing, man? What you doing? All right,
like, hey, man, I can do this mask and shit, but I ain't going to be rolling up separate.
Nigga, they was taking the mask off to pass the same blunt back and forth. All right, man. We love you,
man.
Well,
they know where they been. I know where you been. I just don't know where everybody else has been. That's so funny.
He's at Kenan Thompson on Instagram, all one word. I believe he's on the Twitter at Kenan Thompson as well. And the podcast.
I'm on all three.
Yeah, he on all three, and he on Facebook. Join his
But there's like 8, 9, 10 of them though.
Yeah, man.
I'm not TikToking just yet, so
I'm not TikToking. I think by the time I get on it, it's gonna be gone. I keep hearing rumors that TikTok is leaving, so I don't know.
Well, it's definitely gonna be for a pocket of people that I don't know if I necessarily need to join, but it's all good.
It's all good.
We here. Everything is good, man.
All right, man. Congratulations, and many more congratulations. Congratulations on the family.
Thank you, man.
Congratulations on the career moves. Congratulations on being the longest running cast member of SNL. Congratulations for staying in my corner all these years and always picking up the phone when I call. So, man, appreciate you. Love you, brother.
Man.
ATL,
no doubt,
always,
man.
Brother. All right. That's Kenan Thompson, everybody.
Absolutely.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I hope y'all enjoyed that episode of Understand This. Shout out to my main man, Jenny D's. And let me tell you something. It's only going to grow if you tell somebody about it. So don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. All right? New episode next week. Peace.